All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahawashi Ba'ashir Makaha Kudash, and double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and rule well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahawashi Ba'ashir Makaha Kudash Barakatham. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is going to be the so-called white man, or just plainly put, the white man knows who you so-called Native Americans are. All right. And this lesson is coming through the inspiration of this show that I've been watching on Hulu. All right. Now it's called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, as one of them spooky names or whatever, but, don't be deceived, if you will. The show is really about, these devils trying to investigate, the heavy chariot activity that goes on in an area that, used to be a Gadite, so-called Native American territory, and it has quite a bit of history to it. You do your research, you find, what exactly went down, in this territory, but basically it's a lot of, chariot sightings that appear, that happen in that area, so of course Esau goes and, he investigates it, but the real main thing, that gave me the inspiration, to do this lesson is, out of every single religion in the world, out of every single philosophy, out of every single, belief system that there are, we got from Christianity, all the way to the East Indian religions, to what was the other one, that the Moabites and them, Buddhism, things like that. They're gonna bring a rabbi to the show, of all these different belief systems, and that alone tells you, who the real children of Israel are, and what is the connection to these vehicles, their connection to the vehicles, that the angels travel in, which, he calls it the so-called, UFOs. He calls them UFOs, is really the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahawashi. All right. And this is primarily, for, any so-called Native American, come across this video, man, you better wake your ass up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this devil knows more about you than you know about yourself, man. All right. So we're going to go ahead and play this clip, and we're going to play it out.
Mention of other indigenous races upon our earth.
I'm not a scientist. I'm a clergyman. And I came to look at what is expressed here, not from a point of a scientific anomaly, but from a spiritual point of view.
Recognize that the Bible does speak of these entities. They exist in what religion will call a spiritual plane. I guess maybe in modern terminology, you might consider that a fourth dimension of space. You're the scientist. You'll discover that. What seems to be happening here.
All right, you see, you just heard right there. Yo, these devils are wiser than Daniel. They're top scientists. They're top, investigators, and their teams that they have. They know a lot, man. They know the reality, and it's crazy how when you come into this knowledge, and you look at this, you watch the shows like this, things that would, impress the average Joe that watches this show, it doesn't impress us because we're already familiar with it. Here it is, they in a whole specific they're in the only, they're in a specific area, that's known to have high chariot activity. They're conducting these investigations, and they're seeing chariots pop up. You're going to see a chariot pop up in this video. That's another thing too, and yet brothers is pushing camp. They be in LA, wherever, man. and they might see chariots. New York City, a fleet of chariots visiting the elders and the apostles. You know? What does that tell you, man? All right, so I'm going to let this play out.
Is that there very well might be an indigenous earth spirit.
All right, now that part, you know what I'm saying? That's where he begins to go off, man. You know, it's some earth spirit. Like, nah, man. You know, at the end of the day, all spirits are subject unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, and in the fourth dimension, which is the spiritual world, is the angels. Now, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai does have angels that are under his control, you know, and they manipulate the land, they manipulate the weather. You know, hey, they you know, manipulate the minds of the people, you know, according to the scriptures. All right, so continuing on.
Who has called this place home for as long as it has been alive. And the one thing that they find the most offensive is when human beings encroach. But reality isn't. You could actually have portals opening and closing on this property with a living.
And, you know, when they talk about portals and stuff like that, you know, things like that is not impossible with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, I brought out a lesson yesterday how, you know, after what was his name? After Philip, you know, baptized the Ethiopian eunuch, all right, who was a high position under Candace, the queen of Ethiopia. You know, after he baptized that man, you know, and shortly afterwards, you know, it happened so swift that, you know, he was gone. Philip was gone before the Ethiopian eunuch could even look back to him. You know, he was taken by the Holy Spirit. You know, he was taken by the Spirit. That could be a form of teleportation right there. You know, a portal could have opened up. You know, whatever scientific explanation these devils have, at the end of the day, we're going to know these things, man. And that's another thing that excites us, that the kingdom is so close. You know, is we're going to have access to these tools. All right, we're going to have access to these abilities, and the wisdom surrounding these abilities, and the elements that connect with these abilities. You know, the manipulation of the elements. This is what we're looking forward to, man. You know, yes, the kingdom, you know what I'm saying? You know, you have the lavish, you know, royalty lifestyles, you know, the ability to rule above your people, you know, the ability to rule. You're going to be, you know, Lord willing, we're of the elect. We're going to be, you know, above our people, man. All right. So I'm going to let this play out more.
Non-human intelligent entity. Coming and then disappearing.
Yeah.
Coming and going.
Profound.
Now, Ariel has told me that the Hebrew rabbis know of a thing called tonal technologies. It's an
I'm going to
acoustic...
skip this.
I believe seeing is believing. So what I believe to do is to teach others to see for themselves.
And this is how you know the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not dealing with them. You know, with that little statement right there, I believe seeing is believing. You know, hey, man, we go by faith, not by sight. You know, like Yahweh Shai said, blessed is he, you know, that believeth without seeing. You know, and that was in response to, what was it, a doubtful Thomas, you know, who couldn't believe it until, you know, he put his finger through, you know, the hands of the Lord, you know, after he, you know, had the nails, you know, he had the nails go through his hands. So, you know, that's just, you know, that's how you know the spirit ain't really dealing with these people, man. All right, but continuing on.
So
That's what it's
let's
all about.
talk about how we're going to do that now.
We are going to create a sacred place and do the traditional prayers for the opening of the gates. We will specifically invite whatever is here, if it's willing, to communicate, to show some sign, because these entities are out there. I already sense it.
Holy right there.
Yup, right there. So as you can see, you know, that this is no coincidence, man. You know, and in that show, chariots don't appear every 5 minutes, man. You know, every 5 minutes, oh, look, a chariot. You know, over here poking at a tree, oh, a chariot. You know, UFO. You know, trying to emulate that a little redneck accent that the, you know, supposed astrophysicist scientist, you know, dude has. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the sightings, they don't happen every 5 minutes, man. Something specific has to happen, you know, for chariots to reveal themselves, you know, to these people in this show. You know, so that just goes to show, man. You know what I'm saying? Going back to, you know, the topic of the title, you know, the so-called white man knows who you so-called Native Americans truly are. Okay? Because out of all different philosophies and religions, he brings a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, which they're not the real, you know, chosen people of the book, man. All right? They're imposters. The true people of the book are so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? And this just further solidifies it. You know, this further solidifies it. The evidence is there. All right? You got the scriptures describing so-called UFOs. You got these people, these scientists, conducting an investigation on Native American land, on what used to be Native American land. And of all the people they're going to bring a Jewish rabbi. And then when they bring him and they're, you know, having their council, a chariot shows up, man. You know? Why? Because it is connected. All right? We are connected to the heavenly things. Okay? Because that's what was our first, that was our first estate. All right? But we fell. You know, when we went off, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we turned our back on Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, we fell. You know, but we're returning to that. All right? So we're going to start with one precept. All right? Wiser than Daniel. All right? Let's go. Okay. Let me see. All right, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28 and 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, and there is no secret that they can hide from thee. Okay? And that's one of the characteristics that Esau has. And that's the true biblical nationality of the so-called white man. You know, for those, anybody that's stumbling across this video, you made it this far. You know, that's the true biblical nationality of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right. And this scripture is directed towards him. He is wiser than Daniel. Now, who is Daniel? He was a very wise man of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know, who broke down the dreams that, you know, Nebuchadnezzar had, you know, in separate occasions, you know, and these were dreams that nobody else, you know, could, what was it called? Nobody else could, you know, break down. You know, everybody, all the wise men, all the what's it called? The sorcerers and, you know, those people, you know, Chaldeans, you know, back then in Babylon, you know, in ancient Babylon, you know, they couldn't figure out, you know, what Nebuchadnezzar was dreaming about, you know, and then it also, you know, goes forth with the writing on the wall. You know, it was under the son of Belshazzar, if I remember correctly, that was his name. You know, he saw, you know, the writing on the wall. He couldn't, you know, he couldn't read it, you know, and then he called upon all the wise men, all the wise people in his kingdom in Babylon, and he couldn't read it. I mean, and they couldn't read it, but it was Daniel who was able to break it down. All right, so when it says thou art wiser than Daniel, all right, it goes into how, this devil with his investigation, how it further expounds, there's no secret that they can hide from thee, in the verse, it goes into how this devil with his investigations, and his teams that they have, just bring out right there, and their teams that they have, that they really get to the bottom and have their own, understanding of, how things are, in the top echelons. Now, the average six-pack Joe, he don't care, man. He's a natural man. He's just trying to, live his life and enjoy, his kingdom and, all whatever philosophies he's under, he's gonna do that. But these top Edomites, these Edomites in the upper echelons, all right, in the upper echelons, they know, okay, this dude just broke down that the spiritual world, man. He just broke down the spiritual world. This rabbi dude, he broke down the spiritual world. He said is what scientists call the fourth dimension. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we talk about in this knowledge. So it's manifest. The right hand side, which is us in this knowledge, versus the left hand side, which is this devil. Because this devil in this knowledge, he's not using this to do good, man. All right, he's not using this knowledge. If he were to attain, in-depth knowledge and the details on what consists of these fourth dimensions and how to obtain abilities and stuff, like, he would not use it for good, man. He would wipe out these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, heck, he took our book and he makes himself to be us. He makes himself to be us. Sets himself as the chosen people. So could you imagine if this devil had spiritual power, man? Hell no. And that's the ultimate thing that they are seeking. Right? That's the ultimate thing that they are chasing after. Is that God-like power, that God body. That real soon the elect of the children of Israel is getting ready to receive the incorruptible. That's why if you look on the left-hand side, this devil, he says, okay, well, since we're not going to receive it, all right, because again, these top scholars, they know what's going on, man. They know that they have but a short time. That's why they're moving forward with all these agendas. All right. They're saying, hey, if we can't receive it, then through our science, and which science represents wisdom, but through their science or wisdom, their technology, they're going to try to achieve it through transhumanism, which is the combination of man and machine. They're trying to set out from an organism to a computer. You know what I'm saying? Put and download the human subconscious into a machine, a computer, man. That's why they're coming out with all these robots and these conscient robots and things like that, conscious AI. And even then it spooks them because you have certain instances where they have to turn them off because they're communicating with each other, the robots. You know what I'm saying? That's something I read somewhere. But it just goes to show, man, this devil's not in control of anything, man. And he covets what we're getting ready to receive. All right, that's what he's coveting, man. That's why he goes to these different specific areas and he conducts these investigations. And ultimately, he wants to find a way to be able to stand up against the Lord when he makes his second coming. But it's all in vain. All right, let's go into another precept. Okay, let me see. What precept could I bring out? We could go into the book of Ezekiel. You know what? We're going to go into the book of Zechariah chapter 5. Go into these chariots, man. All right. So book of Zechariah chapter 5 and 1. Then I turned and I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? All right. Now this is a chariot. We call them the chariots, man. All right. We call them the chariots because that's the vehicles that the angels travel in. Now, Esau, a so-called white man, he calls them UFOs or UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenons. That's just the covering cast that he's putting on them, a deception that he's putting out there, so that they can't identify what they truly are. So the people, get thwarted. It's a different word for it, but basically the people get misled, into knowing what they truly are. They get blocked away from knowing what they truly are. All right, that's the best way to articulate it. Okay. So continuing on, and it says, and he said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I see a flying roll, and the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. And he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. All right, and why is this a curse? Is because these are the vehicles that the Lord, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is going to return in. And the thousands of heavens, the angels. That's what he's going to return in. All right, so it says again, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. All right, because he's returning on a huge fathership, man. As it is written, every eye shall see him. It has to be something massive. Okay, it has to be something massive. All right, and it's the curse because they're not coming back for peace, man. They are coming back to punish the wicked for their iniquities. And set judgment upon the earth and deliver the elect and save the elect, the 1/3 remnant out of Babylon, and usher in New Jerusalem, the kingdom of heaven. That's what they're coming for. All right. But this is a curse to the whole earth because it is a curse to the so-called white man. Okay. Meanwhile, so-called Native Americans are stuck on trying to get Babylon back. Man, forget about Babylon. This place is going to burn up anyways. All right. So continuing on, and it reads, all right, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side, according to it. And every one that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side, according to it. All right. So, and who is doing this? All right. Everyone that stealeth and anyone that sweareth, which the next verse is going to go into, what type of swearing it is. It's not just any type of swearing. It ain't the swearing that they tell us in middle school, saying bad words. No, it's swearing falsely. All right. And that's what they do. You go to a court system, they have you put the right hand in the Bible. Actually, forget the court system. They got the president, man. They make him put his hand on the Bible and swear upon it. But this kingdom is anything but righteous. All right. This kingdom is anything but righteous. This kingdom is the prison house of the children of Israel. This is hell. The president got no reason to even be around our book. Okay. But that's what it's going into. They that steal and they that swear falsely. And who did they steal this land from? You so-called Native Americans and you so-called Latinos, you so-called Mexicans, right? And you go to Latin America, they don't own those places. They don't run those places. They're all set up by puppets. All right, that take all the natural resources and, funnel it back to their companies and export it back to their, to the bottomless pit, which is Europe. They stole the so-called Negroes from the west coast of Africa. They brought them over here as slaves, man. This is the thief and the liar. All right. Zechariah chapter 5. And I'll bring it forth, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and it shall consume it with timber thereof and the stones thereof. All right, which this goes into how, when that time comes, when the ICBM nuclear missiles get launched from Russia and they hit this place, and this place is being hit with the missiles, that the chariots is going to be in the sky, in the atmosphere, and they're going to be amplifying the flames. They're going to be hitting this place with laser beams, you know, and amplifying the flames, man. Making sure the judgment is executed upon this wicked and sinful kingdom. Okay? So with that, I'm going to go to another precept, man. You know, further, you know, going back to addressing, you know, to you so-called Native Americans. All right? My people destroyed knowledge. There we go. All right, so Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, and it reads, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. All right, and I've seen a post somewhere where so-called Native Americans are saying we are not Hebrew Israelites. We are fucking 500 different nations of people. Oh man, stiff-necked, man. All right, but see, we're not reaching out to the average Native American. All right, we're reaching out to the elect of the so-called Native Americans, the elect of the tribe of Gad. That's the true tribe of the nation of Israel, man. All right, all that stiff-neck. See, we don't want the 2/3 of the tribes, man. Okay, at the end of the day, you have to be in a high frequency to understand this truth. Even the basics of this truth is high level. All right. So we're not gonna be over here, you know, like that dude from that movie with the 80s, you know, in the 80s, Salakia, you know, who was able to see, you know, the world for what it truly was, because he put on them glasses, and he had to literally go and beat up a Jake. You know what I'm saying? To get him to put on the glasses. We're not doing that, man. All right. If you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to understand, you might be one of these people, man. You might be one of the elect. All right, because even then, we don't know if we're sealed. You know? But one thing is for certain, we did not reject this knowledge. All right? So Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Destroyed, man. You know? You see, you know, the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans and the predicaments that they're in, man. You see, you know, focusing on you so-called Native Americans in the reservations. You know, they got nothing to drink. They go and drink up nail polish, man. Nail polish. You know? Or is it the nail cleaner? I forgot. But is that product, you know, that comes in that little plastic bottle that you know smells like rubbing alcohol. They drink that, man. Destroyed. You know, and then they go online, you know, they talk about, you know, reclaiming the land, you know what I'm saying, trying to get Babylon back. You know, like, dude, this place is about to be destroyed, man. Instead, look to be brought back in our original homeland, the land of Israel. All right. So I'm going to read this again. I'll move on to the next precept. And it reads, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. And that thou shalt be no priest to me. All right. So you are not, you know, these carnal, worldly, you know, Jakes, man, they are not cut out to teach this thing, man. This thing is exclusive. Continuing on, and it says, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. You know, and this seems cruel until you think about what Israel said when they were putting Yahushua on the cross. You know, let his blood be upon us, our children, and our children's children. You know? So, hey, man. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about that predestination. You know, being chosen and being predestined from the beginning. You know? So continuing on, I'm gonna go to the final precept. All right, high time. Let me see. Yep. Book of Romans chapter 13 verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Okay? And that is, the final precept, man. Self-explanatory. Knowing the time. Look at what's going on in the world. We are in the end days, man. We are in the end times. And whose time is coming unto an end? The so-called white man's time. Esau, Edom. That's why the scripture says, because, Revelations 12 and 12, he's coming down with great wrath because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And that is evident, man. All right, that there is evident. You see these teams, these investigation teams and this is just what they're releasing out there, man. All right, this is what they're releasing out there. And mind you, before these guys came on the scene, the actual territory, it's called Skinwalker Ranch, the actual ranch, the actual area was owned by a billionaire who conducted real investigations there, man. Real and they have that, locked up in secret. These guys, they keep on saying that time and time again. Yeah, they don't be, talking about what they, found in their investigations, because it's classified information that they do not want to get out to the public, man. Probably found, Hebrew tablets, things like that. It makes sense, man. Why else would they bring a Jewish rabbi on the scene? Why would they bring an imposter to the scene, man? Lord willing, this lesson doesn't get taken down. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. But hey, it is what it is, man. Should be more careful next time if it does. Who knows? But maybe they'll strike it. But continuing on in a reason that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. All right? And that's ultimately what everything is pointing towards. Esau, is this is his end. That's why he's fighting tooth and nail. That's why he's, going through with all these agendas, and he's trying to perpetuate everybody that the world is ending. And, after this is going to be nothing, but really is our salvation. It's our beginning. All right. This is just the transition where the oppressor is going to be taken down and the oppressed are going to be the ones ruling and be on top. All right. Where the tail is going to be made the head and the head is going to be made the tail. All right. So with that, I'm going to say, Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahawashi Ba'ashim Rakah HaKudash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. On to the next.